this thing on.
What is up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of The Cut. I'm your host, Christian Williams, and I am here, as always, with Randy Hall. Randy, how are you, man?
Doing all right. Checking off the list for work for the last 2 days. I'm here before next year.
Good stuff.
So yeah.
Oh, you have
Getting
all
some
next
stuff
week
done.
off?
Yeah.
Oh,
We only had like 3 work days. I just PTO'd it off.
nice. Yeah, I'm taking through my birthday, so yeah, I'll have a few days next week, but I'll be back for Thursday, Friday to celebrate the new year.
Sounds boring.
Yeah, that'll be fun. All right, guys, we are here to talk through week 16 of the NFL. Week 15 has concluded almost for us. We're recording this a little early, so if you don't hear us talk much about the Rams or the Packers, that is because we are at halftime of that game on Monday night. I know you're watching this live, or we're going to stream this, so I'll still hop in the comments. I think I'll be around. So, but we're just going to get right into it. We don't have a whole lot of news. Anything specific you wanted to talk about, Randy, from the weekend?
Injury-wise, we're just going to talk about that during the games. Bills clinched a playoff spot. Chiefs clinched their division in a playoff spot, obviously. Eagles maintained the clinched playoff spot. Vikings clinched division. 49ers clinched division. Cowboys clinched the playoff spot. That division obviously is still a little bit up in the air, barely. And then I think the Broncos, Texans, Cardinals, and Bears are all officially eliminated from the playoffs. So that's the updates of the week, basically.
Yeah, I saw if the Bears lose out, they're guaranteed a top 3 pick no matter what. And if they win one of their final 3 games, they'll still be guaranteed to have a top 5 pick. So happy about that as a new Browns fan or Bears fan, former Browns fan. Yeah, former Browns fan. All right, guys, let's get into week 16. We have a pretty good slate of games, it looks like. And we're going to start with Thursday Night Football. The 6-8 Jaguars against the 7-7 Jets. The Jets are 1-point favorites in this game, and the over-under is 39. I don't know how the Jets are favored in this game after watching the two teams this week. Go ahead.
I was going to say they're not. I mean, they're -1 home. So it's usually -3. So I guess you could say Jaguars are technically favored. In reality, this is a pick 'em, and which is fair because the Jets defense is amazing, and the Jaguars offense does make some mistakes from time to time. Etienne's a little banged up, it looked like, with his ankle, so we'll see on that. It's not in the doc because I just remembered it. So we'll see a couple things there, and I think it's a little bit of, is Wilson playing as White? I don't think it's official yet.
They named Wilson the starter today because White isn't going to make it. It doesn't sound like Wilson won his job back. It sounds like White is not healthy enough yet. So,
in fairness, he may have broke all his ribs. I have no idea.
Yeah. Once again, the hardest hit I've seen on a quarterback in years, probably a decade, which is awesome, but also not good for him. But that means Zach Wilson's starting in this game. Zach Wilson had a very up and down game for about a quarter. He was back, and he was back to BYU Zach, and they ran that play action wheel play for CJ Uzomah, and it was wide open, and so Zach Wilson got a lot of yards, and then he did Zach Wilson things and threw straight to the Lions, who were in cover 3. It was a very Zach Wilson-esque game, very volatile play, and they ended up losing, and I would argue it was a lot on the back of Zach Wilson, even though his teammates are coming out and defending him right now.
Yeah, he did give them a chance at the end. So
he did.
I think that helped him a bit. Obviously, it's a good catch, believe Garrett Wilson, but still.
Yeah. Also, if they call a timeout, I think Zach Wilson probably leads a game-tying drive there. So it is what it is. On the other side of things, though, Trevor Lawrence played in an immaculate fashion. 27 of 42, 318 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception. 3 carries for 21 yards and a pretty costly fumble, so you thought, and then they end up winning the game off a weird pick six from Rayshon Jenkins off of Dak Prescott's hand. Travis Etienne, one of the best fumblers in the NFL, 19 carries, 103 yards, and that fumble, and then 2 catches for 24 yards. He looked good, but like you said, it's banged up, and it's a Thursday night game. We'll see what kind of workload he gets. Zay Jones personally attacked my fantasy team this week, and so I'm pretty upset about it. 6 catches, 109 yards, and 3 touchdowns. I'm very upset about Zay Jones's performance, but kudos to him. And I think you start him like every week, right? Like this is like 3 weeks in a row that he's been fantasy relevant.
I know, but he's one of the outside receivers, man.
I know. Which I made that mistake too.
Starting
an outside receiver against the Jets.
Just plain and simple, DJ Reed and Sauce Gardner are playing incredible, especially together, allowing them both to just kind of stick on their side. They're taking away outside receivers. But Zay Jones is winning in different ways, so there's a chance there. It's a tough call.
One of them was a double move that was he cooked him. Cooked him real bad. Unfortunately, I just don't think that stuff's going to work. The touchdown production, I don't think it'll be there in this game.
No.
So yeah, I guess you debate him in your flex. Start Christian Kirk, 6 catches, 92 yards, in the slot a lot more. Seems like he'll probably be the focal point of the offense, especially if ETN's out. I think.
Garrett Wilson. Sorry, I was fighting off a yawn.
You're good. Evan Engram start every week.
Yeah, he's actually the focal point of the offense was kind of what I was trying to get out there. Yeah. I mean, at this point, I don't think we're going to get that, big performance that we had last week, I believe it was, or 2 weeks ago. But I think we're almost locked into 7 or 8 catches at this point with like double-digit targets. The yardage and touchdowns, I don't know about all that, but at the tight end position, if you can pretty much guarantee me 10 points, I'm pretty happy as the guy for, a lot of people got probably out of the playoffs because of Mark Andrews, Dalton Schultz, Dolchich. There's a lot of bad tight end plays this last week, and if he's going to be consistent, he's your guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you guys can't tell, I'm bitter. I lost in our home league where I was 23-5. I was the number 1 seed, and Zay Jones and Jahan Dotson dunked all over me this week. So, and Mark Andrews' dud was not great, although he's just had a month full of duds. So we'll talk about that team in a little bit. Evan Engram or Darren Waller this week?
Fucking shit, man. I don't even remember who the Raiders play at this point.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out right now.
They play the Steelers.
Yeah, right. I knew it was a tough match. Okay. That's good context for folks that may have that decision. That seems like something that could be a decision here in the playoffs. On the other side of things, Garrett Wilson is the only Jet you start, correct?
Yeah. I mean, Moore's doing enough, but with Jess Smith getting involved, a backup quarterback throwing to a backup receiver, I get it, but sorry. It's just weird that it's basically all in one drive too. He just got involved that drive and kept being targeted for some reason, but all 3 of them had 4 catches. It's not like anyone really dominated. It's just Wilson's by far the best. Bam Knight, 13 for 23, did get banged up. Came back kind of a little bit, then came right back out. It doesn't look like he's going to be out this week necessarily, so that's why I didn't put him on the injury report. It looks like he'll be all right, but they just weren't trying to push the issue. In a game where, if we're going to be honest, the Detroit Lions run defense over the last 4 or 5 weeks has been top 10.
Yeah, whole team's been just very good except for their pass defense for the most part.
Yeah.
Okay, in this game, I'm taking the Jaguars easily, personally, and I'm taking the over.
So this is basically, to me, this is a bit of what we just talked about last week with Goff. And it's it's a prove-it game for Lawrence. And I kind of bet on Goff, so I'm going to bet on Lawrence too. But I'll take the over.
Okay, cool. All right, we do have a Saturday slate. Christmas Eve games this week?
It's the main slate, my friend. It is
really?
most of the fucking games.
Okay, I did not realize that before we started.
I didn't really until I made the doc.
Okay, this is good to know. I think I should know that. So unfortunately, the first game that we're going to be watching is the 11-3 Bills, 8.5-point favorites against the Chicago Bears, who are 3-11. The over/under in this game is 41. Equanimeous St. Brown has a concussion. Tevin Jenkins was carted off, but they received positive news on that front. It doesn't sound like he'll play. The Bears also lost their starting left guard, Cody Whitehair. They were already without Chase Claypool, and there was an ominous report that said, "Oh, they don't think it's season ending." Okay, well, the season's almost over, so let's see if he can get out there. Pretty much, the Bears are pretty depleted right now. Justin Fields, though, still had a good fantasy day. David Montgomery still had a good fantasy day. I think despite a tough matchup against the Bills, I think you start those two players and just set it and forget it type of deal, right?
Yeah, agreed. And I think we had the same mindset going this last week against the Eagles. So,
yeah, for sure. That's all I really want to talk about on the Bears side of things. If Claypool plays, don't play him. Just don't play a Bears pass catcher, I don't think.
Ultra targeted. It's not by Fields even.
Right.
He's going to get blanketed in coverage. So,
yeah, for sure. On the other side of things, Josh Allen, 25 of 40, 304 yards and 4 touchdowns and 77 yards on 10 carries on the ground. That looked like MVP Josh Allen against the Dolphins last week. And the Bills really shouldn't have won that game. I think the Dolphins kind of controlled a lot of the game throughout. And then the Bills kind of had another last-second game-winning drive.
Started to snow again. It started to stick, and the Bills stuck it to the Dolphins late.
This is true,
and mainly with Dawson Knox, which is what it is, but it's hilarious. It was it's not. It was like a really good day from Allen, and one that you're probably sitting there like, I don't know if he's 100%, but he's close again. But besides Knox, no one really had a good day besides Allen.
Shout out Quentin Morris, who we talked about on our tight ends episode 2 years ago. I almost pulled the audio from it, but I didn't feel like giving that much effort to just victory lap an undrafted free agent tight end that finally caught a touchdown. But good receiver, a nice little change of pace tight end for them. Dawson Knox, though, here's a question. Dawson Knox against the Bears or Evan Engram?
Evan Engram.
Really?
Yeah, it's consistency, man. That's simply it. In the playoffs, I need guaranteed points.
2 weeks in a row of Dawson Knox. 2 weeks.
But 2 weeks in a row of nothing really from Diggs.
This is true.
Does that change against the Bears?
Maybe. Here's the thing. I know A.J. Brown ended up having a good statistical day, but Jalen Johnson, who might not play in this game, and I think that would be the problem is if he doesn't play, but he had a lot of really good reps. I think there's a chance that he sticks with Diggs a little better than some would imagine, but no, I mean, you still, Diggs is going to have a good day.
I believe A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith combined for over 300 yards, so I'm not worried about that aspect of it.
To be fair, they were all perfect passes or slants, which isn't really how Diggs wins, so I'm curious. Well, the perfect passes, Josh Allen does that sometimes, but and so you start Diggs. Don't start Gabe Davis in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I think we're there.
If this was a Sunday night game, I think Davis is in question for you then, because you might need that boom potential late. But it's the Saturday noon slot, 1 o'clock slot. I gotta get used to that for this next 2 weeks. It's tough. I wouldn't play them.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm gonna take the Bills to cover and the over.
The Bills to cover?
Yeah, they cover the spread, 8.5.
Okay. I'll take the Bears to cover and the Bills to win the over.
That's the first time I've picked against the Bears. Yeah, and they have kept every single game close, so I don't feel great about my pick. But
If it
I'm
was
rolling.
6.5, I would have taken the points.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Next game, 5-9 Falcons against the 9-5 Ravens. Is that a correct record? They have 9 wins.
The Ravens, yeah, they were the division leaders until this week.
I thought they had 8 wins coming into this week. I thought they were. I don't
They
know.
were 9-4.
That's pretty wild. That's wild when you consider what the Ravens have done this year. 7-point favorites in this game. Over under is 37.5. Caleb Huntley has an ankle injury. Desmond Ridder has a lack of talent. 13 of 26, 97 yards and 6 carries for 38 yards. To be fair, some of the play calling didn't do him any favors. Not a great debut performance for Desmond Ridder, and it's not getting easier against the Baltimore Ravens. Tyler Algier looked fantastic, though. 17 carries, 139 yards, and a touchdown. I don't have a whole lot of confidence starting him in a pivotal playoff matchup
against the Ravens.
Exactly.
But he did do it against the Saints, who I think is a comparable defense this year.
Yeah.
So I think it's possible. This offense just runs to the running backs. It does seem like it's going to be a 50-50 share pretty much the rest of the way between Algier and Patterson. Neither really were receiving backs this last week, which is strange, but
I'm pretty sure Drake London had like 80% of the receiving yards for this team, if I'm doing my math correctly.
Yeah, over 80%, I think.
Yeah, I think it's like 84, 85.
11 of the 26 targets as well, 7 catches, 70 yards. I mean, he should be the focal point of the passing game. So it makes sense. And I think Ridder understands that, as we saw, a lot for Cincinnati. He threw to the top guy because he's the top guy. So I think we're going to get that, but this team is going to run 30 times plus. So I think he's pretty much locked into 13 to 16 touches. And there's a touchdown opportunity there, so it's a chance. Who are you taking here, man? There's still ambiguity about Lamar.
Really quickly, yeah. So start Dobbins, I think. He's looked fantastic in the 2 games he's been back. What are you doing with Mark Andrews? Dawson Knox or Mark Andrews?
Falcons are a top 5 matchup for tight ends.
I know.
Evan Ingram is my answer.
Okay, but Dawson Knox. Dawson Knox
dude,
and Mark Andrews.
Tough.
Isn't it? And that's where we're kind
of. If it's Lamar, it's Andrews for me. Fair. If it's Huntley, I think I'm going Knox, which I don't like.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm taking the. I don't think the Falcons are any good. I don't, and so I'm going to take the Ravens and the under.
I'll take the Falcons to cover the Ravens under.
That's fair. All right. Next game is actually a pretty good one. The 8-5-1 Giants are taking on the 11-3 Minnesota Vikings. Vikings are 3.5-point favorites, and the over/under is 47.5. Let's talk about the Vikings comeback first. Literally the largest point differential that an NFL team has ever come back from. What was it? 33, 35, 33.
So it was either 33 or 36. I don't remember. It was 33-0.5. I don't remember if the Colts got their 3 points in the second half first, or
I don't think so. I
think it was 36 point. Yeah.
I think it was 33 for what it's worth, but it doesn't matter. It was a great comeback. The Colts melted. That's what happens when you have a high school coach coaching you, I think. But
hey, it happens with a lot of coaches. When you get a big lead or even a 14-point lead, in some teams' cases,
Hey, got lucky.
You play way too safe, and then you cost yourself by being a little bit of a bitch and not play calling like it's a normal part of the game, and you're trying to grind out and not play. Trying to just waste clock. Yeah, it's a little bit personal because the Raiders have lost at least 3 games because of that. So.
This is true. Hey, remember that conversation we had about KJ Osborne last week? And I was like, I know he's the 4th option. And then he ended up being the 2nd option in this game. 10 catches, 157 yards, and a touchdown. Justin Jefferson did go out of the game for a little bit. I think that really but both involving Osborne when he was out.
No.
He could have had, the one was a drop, but he could have had over 200 yards in this game.
So from what I watched the second half, which I did watch most of it, Jefferson went out twice for 2 plays. Both plays, Kirk Cousins threw a pick going to Reagor.
This was in the first half that Jefferson left because of his chest.
Okay, that one. Yeah. Well, this was also in the first half.
Okay. Well, the one was a deep bomb to Osborne that he dropped. But either way, he could have had over 200 yards in this game. Kirk Cousins went ballistic. 34 of 54, 460 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 2 picks. As you mentioned, those were both Justin Jefferson off the field. And Justin Jefferson kind of went ballistic too. 12 catches, 123 yards, and a touchdown. I believe he is pacing to be the yardage leader ever. I think he's on pace to beat Cooper Kupp's record. Tyreek Hill was pacing that. I don't know if he is anymore. I don't think he is.
I think they're both close. I will say I did see like a clip of a podcast talking about how, Kirk Cousins threw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns, but he threw 2 picks, so he really didn't do much to help. Shut the fuck up. Like, Kirk Cousins played some real bad games where he did not help. He carried this team down the stretch.
Yeah.
There's the whole second half he carried him.
He made some fantastic throws. He played well against this Giants team who can get after it. Are you worried?
They're not a great pass defense.
This is true. This is true. Kayvon Thibodeau had a breakout game, though. Do we think that Cousins is going to have enough time in the pocket?
He should. I do know Darisaw was a little banged up after this last week, so we'll see on his status. So that would change it slightly. But if it's pretty much only Thibodeau, though, like no one else has really gotten there. So there's a good chance, in my opinion, that Kirk can still have a really good day. I think Cook can have a decent day on the ground, not great, but some action through the air. If he can make another huge screenplay, obviously he's going to be a great play. But I think you're easily starting Jefferson. The question is, are you starting Osborne?
No, I don't think I am. I think I'd start Richie James over KJ Osborne in this game.
Ooh, I was real close to being like, hell no. And then I was like, oh, it's Vikings secondary. That's right.
Yeah, I think I'd be super comfortable starting Richie James in my flex this week, honestly.
That's fair.
I'm taking I don't think either of these teams are particularly good, but I'm going to take the Vikings in this one and the under.
I'll take the Vikings and the over.
Okay. Next game, 7-7 Lions on a tear right now are 3-point favorites heading to Carolina to face off against the 5-9 Panthers. Over under in this game is 44.5. Jared Goff against the Jets, 23 of 38, 252 yards and a touchdown. Looked pretty darn good compared to what other quarterbacks have looked like against the Jets. DeAndre Swift, 8 carries, 52 yards, 5 catches, 23 yards. Still some inefficiencies as a runner that we hope he can get past next year.
They couldn't run the ball this game.
They couldn't, and he was pretty dancy back there, which has kind of been his thing lately. Can't afford to be that against the Jets. Outside of that, Amon-Ra, you start him. We know this. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all you're starting. I'm once again intrigued by DJ Chark. I am once again intrigued by Jameson Williams, but he's not getting on the field, so I would not play them. DJ Chark just burned me. So I probably won't start him, but I'm intrigued because J.C. Horn should be matched up against him. I think J.C. Horn probably wins that, but say he's not, I think Chark could have a big day. On the other side of things, Sam Darnold, 14 of 23, 225 yards and a touchdown, a very Sam Darnold stat line. I'm going to keep saying that every week, but I'm glad he's kind of playing well. I'm happy for him, happy for Baker Mayfield. I'm happy for that quarterback class outside of Josh Rosen. And then DJ Moore, 5 catches, 73 yards and a touchdown. Against Okudah, you playing him?
Maybe in the flex. Maybe.
Okay. I think that's fair. I'm taking the Lions and the over.
Lions and the under.
I hate everything. Okay. If I would have started AJ Dillon, I would have won that matchup that I talked about. I'm livid. Okay, next game. 7-7 Seahawks against the 11-3 Chiefs. Chiefs are 9.5-point favorites in this game, and the over/under is 49. Tyler Lockett broke his finger. He's getting surgery. He's probably only going to miss a week somehow because he's a beast. This is why this dude doesn't take contact ever. He just falls to the ground so that he can bounce off of broken fingers and go catch footballs 2 weeks later. Seahawks are struggling though, and so Geno has been fine, but they definitely are petering to the finish line here. So Geno 31 of 44 for 238 yards and a touchdown. Ken Walker looked okay. Lockett had a good game before the injury. DK had another decent game, but really no touchdown production for either of them. Kind of limits what their upside is. Noah Fant, continued success, 5 catches, 32 yards and a touchdown. Against the Chiefs, I'm not super intrigued by Fant. I think you play DK, and I think you sit Geno, honestly. I don't think you play Geno in this game.
There's probably better options.
For sure. On the other side of things, Patrick Mahomes, 36 of 41, 336 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Texans. 5 carries, 33 yards and a touchdown and a fumble. Isaiah Pacheco, 15 carries, 86 yards, also had a fumble and a catch. Jerick McKinnon, though, 10 carries, 52 yards and a touchdown, 8 catches, 70 yards and a touchdown. Then Travis Kelce and Juju Smith-Schuster each had 10 catches. I think right there, those players right there, you just start them against the Seahawks, all of them.
Yeah, I think you have to play. You're obviously playing the bottom two. I think you're playing both running backs as well.
I think so.
You're obviously playing Mahomes, so.
Well, I think if Pacheco gets a touchdown, we're looking at this performance a little differently, which I think that could very well happen. Although I will say McKinnon tends to be in there to catch the football when they get in close. So maybe you hesitate on Pacheco of that group, but I think those are the only Chiefs you're playing at this point. But I think you play all of them pretty confidently because the Seahawks up and down defense did not look good this last week. So,
who you taking? Chiefs points over.
Seahawks to cover and over, I guess. Stuttered a little bit there because I was not sure where I was going until it came out of my mouth. Next game sucks. 1-12 Texans against the 7-7 Titans. Over under is 38.5. Ryan Tannehill came back after he was carted off to go get x-rays on his ankle. Apparently they came back negative. It was a pain tolerance thing. He went back in the game. He wasn't very good though. So I don't think that had he not had adrenaline, he would have been out there. So I think it would have been Malik Willis. Could be Malik Willis in this game. TBD on that. Ryan Tannehill was 15 of 22, 165 yards and a pick. Derrick Henry, however, had a pretty good game. 21 carries, 104 yards and a touchdown. 4 catches for 59 yards. Big pass catching back guy over there. With Dontrell Hilliard out, turns out that it's just Derrick Henry getting catches out of the backfield. I hate this game quite a bit because there's not much fantasy relevance here, right?
So the Texans have played well 2 straight weeks back under the leadership of Davis Mills. I don't think you can play Davis Mills. If I want Nico Collins to be back, or Brandon Cooks, because I think you could play them as a last ditch like flex safety kind of play. You're playing Henry. I think you're pretty consistently safe playing Chig Okonkwo.
Sure. Low upside with Chig, I think.
There's a decent upside, but it's a safe 8-point floor. That's the thing.
I will say if it's Malik instead of Tannehill, Malik had some pretty good chemistry with Chig in the preseason, and they worked together a lot in training camp. So I think that's a safer play actually if Malik plays, honestly.
I think it should. I mean, if Tannehill has even a slight sprain or anything, I think you sit him. obviously they could lose to the Texans. I get that, but it'd be worse if you lost and he got hurt for the rest of the year. So you might as well sit him and let Malik try and win this.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I'm taking the Texans in this game to at least cover, and I'm taking the under comfortably.
I'm going to take the Titans and the points in the over just to fuck with you. I think Derrick Henry has 2 touchdowns and 200 yards.
Oh yeah, we know that's happening. We do know that's happening. That happens every time. So, okay, next one. 10-4 Bengals are 3.5 point favorites against the 7-7 Patriots, who lost in the funniest of ways last week. 39.5 is the over under in this game. The Bengals looked terrible in the first half. Had their worst total yardage half of Joe Burrow's career, and then they absolutely manhandled them in the second half and looked like the team that should be going back to a Super Bowl. Honestly, looked like an AFC favorite.
They got a few turnovers in plus territory in the second half, and it really just kind of catapulted. But they didn't really pull away from the Bucs.
They didn't.
Whose offense has been struggling, which is kind of worrisome to an extent. Obviously Burrow, 27-39, 200 yards, 4 touchdowns, a pick, and a fumble. They couldn't get anything going on the ground. They threw it to Chase a ton. He only had 7 catches, 60 yards, and a touchdown. Boyd, Wilcox, Higgins, all minimal stat lines, but had a touchdown. Like, it wasn't a phenomenal day, is the big thing. I think they really need this running game to get going to have the best chance.
Yeah.
Is that happening this week? I don't know, man. It's the Patriots. Are they trying to take away Chase?
Maybe. I think they take away the run game and kind of just hope that Burrow makes some mistakes, but I don't know. I know the Patriots have a good defense. Kyle Duggar's a beast back there. I think the Patriots defense doesn't scare me matchup wise the way it has in the past. So
that's fair.
I don't think you start Boyd. I think you start Higgins and Chase with fairly tempered expectations, I guess, and then you start Mixon. He burned you this week.
But you kind of have to play him. I doubt you have a better option.
On the other side of things, Mac Jones was fucking terrible. The guy, he's terrible right now. 13 of 31 for 112 yards. Ramondre Stevenson, though, not terrible. Opposite of terrible. Great. 19 carries, 172 yards, and a touchdown. He did have 2 catches as well. Pierre Strong got in the game a little bit, but once Ramondre got going, it was definitely his show. Kevin Harris had a couple fine runs. But
they used 3 backs this week to give Stevenson some rest. I expect it to go back to 2 this week. I don't know if that'll be Pierre Strong or if it'll just be Damian Harris again.
Probably.
One of the 2. But Stevenson will still get the lead back role.
Yeah. And if you didn't watch this game, go check out how it ended, the Patriots game. It was still the funniest thing I've ever seen. It was one of the worst plays in NFL history.
Yeah, I don't know what Jacoby was thinking.
Neither does he, except I know he was really distraught after the game, and I feel bad for him. So
I do feel bad for him because I don't think he's expecting the ball there.
No.
Ramondre.
That's on Ramondre.
He's supposed to just go down.
Yep.
And then he pitches it to Jacoby, who's like, shit, Max there, fuck it, throw it. Didn't see Chandler Jones. But best case scenario, there's no one near Mac Jones. He catches it 55 yards from the end zone and has to run through all Raiders players. You see, there was a lose-lose situation there. It made no sense to pitch it back there. And then it just so happened that Chandler Jones was there to stiff arm Mac Jones into the base layer of the turf before he ran it in for a game-winning touchdown. So it's a bad situation all the way. A funny situation, but
Mac's tackle attempt was one of the worst I've ever seen.
In fairness, what is he supposed to do there?
He was sitting down in a squat trying to reach out. But he didn't do it.
Have you seen Mac Jones?
Yeah.
Have you seen Chandler Jones?
Saw him throw the ball too. If he was accurate, they would have won. I'm taking the Bengals and the over.
I'll take the Bengals and the over.
Sweet. Do you play Jacoby in this game, by the way? Coming off of that, do you think Bill sits him at all?
No
yeah,
way.
me neither. Yeah, me neither. I think I'd play him.
Maybe flex, maybe.
Yeah, I'd play him.
I'm not, because I know he gets the fumble there, but that shouldn't come off. Does that come off as receiving yards though? That's what I'm.
No, I don't think so.
So he just didn't have a good day.
Actually, yes, because that happened earlier in the year, didn't it?
Yeah, to Devonta Smith, right?
Yeah, so it does.
He lost. So he had 2 catches for like 80.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. I think Jacoby's a decent play this week, though, for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Next game also kind of sucks. 5-9 Saints against the 6-8 Browns. Over under in this game is 33.5. Is anyone favored in this game?
Browns are, but it can't be by much if I didn't put it there.
I think the Browns are favored by. I think I opened at 3, if I recall.
Probably. I mean, nothing a lot to talk about from the Saints side. Kamara had a good day on the ground. No touchdowns. I think you play Kamara. Mm-hmm. I think you play Jahan Johnson or whatever. I can't remember his first name.
Yeah, Jawan Johnson.
Jawan. Close. Very close.
Yeah.
I think you play him if you're questioning your tight end role. But that's it, in my opinion.
Jawan Johnson or Dawson Knox. There are literally only 4 tight ends that we're going to talk about on this show.
You think I'm crazy, but I think it's Jawan Johnson.
I kind of know.
Right. But the Browns have been a top tight end defense, but that's when they had more healthy linebackers.
Yeah.
Who did they just play? The Ravens? Shit. Nope. We're playing Dawson Knox.
Okay.
I forgot how bad Mark Andrews was.
Yeah, I think that's fair. On the other side of things, Watson looked better, but still not great. 18 of 28, 161 yards and a touchdown. The Browns' offense has tanked since Jacoby Brissett left the offense, which I find pretty funny. I find that to be pretty funny. But Nick Chubb, bounce back game, 21 carries, 99 yards. Amari Cooper, 458. Donovan Peoples-Jones, though, 4 catches, 31 yards and a touchdown. I'm telling you, man, I feel like in this game where Marshawn Lattimore against Amari Cooper, which it sounds like Lattimore should play in this game. Now, if he doesn't, then I think you're comfortably starting Amari, but I would probably prefer Peoples-Jones if he does play.
It's a toss-up for me in that situation.
Yeah.
To be fair. Yeah. Anytime Amari's at home, I'm pretty partial to playing him.
I think that's fair, too. I'm going to take the Browns in this game and the under.
Yeah, Browns and under.
Okay. Next one, 7-6-1 Commanders against the 10-4 49ers. 49ers are 7-point favorites. Over-under is 39.5. Taylor Heineke, 17 of 29, 249 yards and a touchdown. 3 carries for 33 yards. Should have had another touchdown at the end or something of the sort. There was a terrible couple of egregious officiating blunders at the end of the Commanders-Giants game that we didn't talk about when we talked about the Giants. It quite literally cost the Commanders the game. Terry McLaurin was pretty pissed about it. I didn't even see many people talking about the terrible pass interference. But I think Heineke probably could have had a little QB sneak after the pass interference there, but he didn't. Brian Robinson looked really good, 12 carries, 89 yards. Jahan Dotson had a breakout performance against me in the home league.
Only me.
4 catches, 105 yards and a touchdown. Terry McLaurin was still fine, 6 catches, 70 yards. But the 49ers have the best defense for a reason. I don't expect much fantasy good performances, many good performances from the Commander side of things. Do you start anyone? Do you start Terry?
I think you're probably playing Terry in a flex capacity and maybe an upside shot at Dotson. I don't think I'm playing either running back though.
Yeah. I think that's fair. On the other side of things, Brock Purdy runs an offense pretty well, 17 of 26, 217 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's looked pretty good. Christian McCaffrey is a beast. Greg Kittle, 2 touchdowns. He does this in the playoffs, and this is a good matchup for tight ends. George Kittle or Dawson Knox?
Well, I think I definitely play George Kittle over Dawson Knox, but I'm not sure about Greg Kittle, like you just said.
Did I? I don't
You said
think so.
originally. You did.
No
I was
way.
taking it back. But yeah, I think you're playing Kittle simply because like Ayuk didn't really have a good day. Yeah.
We're alive, folks.
We're alive. At least someone's alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean Kittle had a really good day because they didn't tackle him.
Yeah.
They just simply gave up on tackling him, and that really just drove the point home and gave him a win. So if that's not the case, I think he still has a decent day, but not as good. So
Yeah.
I'd still take him over Knox just for a bigger play upside.
Yeah, I think that's fair. They're scheming up a lot. I think he's, especially with Debo out, I think this is a repeatable performance. I'm going to take the 49ers easily here and the over.
Same.
Okay. Game of the week, 13-1 Eagles was the game of the week against the 10-4 Cowboys. Cowboys are 6-point favorites in this game, and the over-under is 46. Has that line moved since the Jalen Hurts? Okay, that's what I figured.
The Cowboys were 1.5-point favorites in a 51 over-under.
Yeah, that makes sense. Jalen Hurts has a shoulder injury, and it does not sound like he will be playing this weekend. The movement from Vegas kind of indicates that he got hurt and he kept playing. The play that he got hurt on, his lineman Jordan Mailata said stay down, and Jalen Hurts said pick me the fuck up, and Jordan Mailata said yes sir, and he picked him up, and then he continued playing in the game that he needed to play in. The Bears were still very much so in that game, so good for him. He looked fantastic outside of the first 2 to 3 drives where he threw 2 kind of boneheaded picks. But 3 touchdowns on the ground. It's going to be tough to replicate that with Gardner Minshew, obviously. So the question is, obviously we know A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, we talked about what they did. You play A.J. Brown no matter who it is. Do you play Devontae Smith?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, say Jones just torched this defense.
That's fair. That is fair.
Well, and I think we're both among the camp that Gardner Minshew is a good quarterback. So,
he is.
And he can run a bit. He's not going to do this, but he can run a bit.
2 of these were QB sneaks. So he could do
61 yards or 17 carries, 61 yards. I don't expect, but I think he'll run a little bit. I think he can throw for 300 yards and a couple of touchdowns, honestly.
Yeah. New age Nick Foles.
Are you playing Sanders? He just burned the holy hell out of me. Cowboys' run defense has been pretty good.
I think you consider him as like a flex option, but some of the receivers that we've talked about would be, I'd rather play them. So maybe not.
Maybe not. Dawson Knox or no.
Sanders. Okay. On the other side of things, play both running backs, play Dak, but kind of know that he's just out there winging it sometimes. He threw 2 picks in this game. He's been a little erratic this year. I'm a little shocked. That has not been his play style in the past, but you still play him even against this Eagles secondary and pass rush. Where I get a little concerned is with Zeke. I do think that overall the Eagles have a good run defense, but you just have to play Zeke and Pollard both, and then CD, and that's it. Don't chase the points with Noah Brown.
No, I think you should be able to play Schultz. He had a bad week. But you should be able to play him.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm going to take the Cowboys to win this game, and I'm going to take the under because of Hurts.
I'm going to take the Cowboys and the over.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a close game, though. I think it's going to be a good game, too. Okay. Raiders against the Steelers. Both 6-8 teams. Steelers are 3-point favorites. Over under 39.5. This game sucks.
Wolf.
From a just not a fun one to watch. I can guarantee that.
This I believe was a Saturday night game, so it'll be like 8:00. So
Time to go hang with the family, I guess. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna want to watch this. Josh Jacobs, you play him no matter what. Remember, I hesitated a little bit last week. You play him no matter what. Darren Waller back in your lineup against the Steelers.
Depends on the match. Not depends on the match. Depends on who else you have, because you would have had someone else.
Right.
So,
yeah. Darren Waller or TJ Hawkinson?
TJ Hawkinson, simply because there's more opportunity there right now. Waller wasn't the only one to come back. Renfrow is back. I think he has a bigger impact in the offense next week. I think Adams obviously has a bigger impact. So, yeah.
On the other side of things, Mitchell Trubisky was pretty good. 17 of 22 for 179 yards, and then he ran in a touchdown. Najee Harris was pretty good. 24 carries, 86 yards, and a touchdown. He is what he is. He's pretty inefficient, but that's okay. Deontay Johnson, we talked about it. We said we'd play him last week, and 10 catches, 98 yards. So that was good. We debated it for a second there. George Pickens against the Raiders. No.
I mean, 22 times throwing the ball.
Yeah.
I want the guy that's getting 10 plus targets, and that's Deontay. And that's all I want.
Yeah. Najee.
I think you have to play him.
Yeah, I agree. Trubisky, don't play him. I'm going to take the Raiders to win this game and the under.
I'll take the Steelers and the under.
Okay, that's fair. Next one, Packers, who are going to be 6-8 against the 8-6 Dolphins. The Dolphins are 5-point favorites, and the over/under is 46.5. AJ Dillon has 2 touchdowns. Aaron Jones just got a touchdown reception. I need 4 more points from him. Please, God, get me 4 more points so I can stop whining. And then we need a Christian Watson bomb here too.
I need some stuff. Yeah.
But the Packers have looked really good against a depleted Rams team. Defensively, they haven't looked great, but Baker Mayfield is kind of helping out by not being on the same page with his receivers quite a bit. On the other side of things, go ahead.
I was going to say, this is going to be the best game of Christmas Day. This is the noon game. I believe it is. It might be 1:00. Damn it. I hate
1:00. That is the normal time.
Well, because with Christmas Day, it could be different. That's why I was like, I think it still might be 1. This will be by far the best game.
Did
we go to the Dolphins stuff?
We didn't.
I apologize.
No, you're good.
I'll just go. Tua had an average day. He played really well in the first half, not gonna lie. And then honestly, like I made the joke earlier, the snow started going, but the offense did start to deteriorate once it started snowing and started sticking. 17 of 30, 234, 2 touchdowns. Mostert with a great day, 17 of 136. Waddle 3 for 1 in 114 and 1. Hill 969 and 1. Really nice game there. It's just it's going to be the best game by far. It should be fun. There's playoff implications. I'm going to take the Dolphins because I know it's regular seasons, but Rodgers still chokes. I'm going to take the Dolphins at home on Christmas Day in probably 90-degree weather because what the hell? Yeah. And I'll take the over.
Yeah, I'm also going to go that way. Do you play Tua against the Packers defense?
Yeah, it's close though. Like this is probably his best day the last 2 weeks. Yeah. The last 3 weeks, I guess.
3 weeks. Yeah.
So I think you play him, but it's close. I mean, there's a good chance you have a different option. Usually if you have Tua, you have someone else. But like if you have Tua or Geno, I'm playing Tua.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Dolphins over for sure. Next game, 4-10 Broncos are 1.5-point favorites against the Rams, who are 4-10. Over under is 35.5. Also, if the Rams somehow come back in this game, reverse the records of the Packers and the Rams. Just throwing that out there. It's not over yet. So here's the thing. So it sounds like Russ is coming back for this game, and that actually makes me sad because Brett Rippon was pretty good. 21 of 26, 197 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. He operated the offense in a way that sometimes Russell Wilson doesn't. He just doesn't do the right things. But he had been looking fine up until the concussion, so maybe.
Sorry, I literally just look at the other screen. In Monday Night Football, has put up that Baker Mayfield with 182 consecutive attempts in the red zone without a pick. Now, why
he's throwing a
why
pick
would you do such a thing? Like, why would you do that?
That's crazy. They bet on the Packers. That's why.
Go on. I'll let you know how bad they fucked up.
Right. Jerry Jeudy had another nice game. I think that's important because he had nice games with Wilson and Rippon. 7 catches for 76 yards. Touchdown Baker. Good job, buddy. So
didn't jinx him.
I don't have any interest in even talking about the Broncos versus the Rams. Do you play Dulcich after that he killed you? I don't know if you made it through if you played Dulcich, honestly. That's how bad.
Yeah. I think if Russ plays, you play Dulcich.
Yeah.
That's better. I think you have to play Jerry Jeudy at this point.
Yeah. I'm gonna
probably play Latavius Murray.
Well, that's the thing with Russ. Do you? I think so. I think
still gonna run it.
I think you flex him and consider other options.
Rams side played no one.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Rams and the under.
I'm gonna take the Broncos and the under.
Okay. Next game, 6 and 8 Bucks, 4.5 point favorites against the 4 and 10 Cardinals. Over under is 41. Colt McCoy left with this game with a concussion. Trace McSorley came in. He looked like trash. And that's pretty much it. James Conner had a fine week. DeAndre Hopkins, fine. Trey McBride had kind of a breakout 4-catch, 55-yard performance. Not a huge breakout, but something indicating things for the future. Good dynasty buy right now, I think. Hollywood Brown, 4 catches for 19 yards. That's crazy.
It's been the last 3 weeks. That's why I put it in here. He's had like 8+ targets, and he's just done nothing with it. Yeah. I don't think he's playable.
No. Oh no.
I think you have to play Hopkins.
I think you
struggle to play Conner here.
I think you even struggle to play Hopkins though. We just saw Jamar Chase have a fine day, but
Jamar Chase is the best receiver. Hopkins still going to get 10+ targets.
He will. I think you hesitate though. I think you play him, but I think you hesitate or you.
I don't think Hopkins has a ceiling. Yeah. I think he has a safe 10-point floor. I think best case he gets you 16.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Other side of things, Brady was fine. 4 turnovers though, so not really all that fine. 312 yards for the air and 3 touchdowns. Fournette outsnapped Rachaad White. I don't know what that running back situation is right now. Fournette was fine. 44 yards on the ground, 4 catches for 30 yards. Rachaad White looked better as a runner at times, and only got 1 catch. So those high value touches that we talked about, gone. On the receiving core, Chris Godwin is the player you play. Mike Evans is the player you hesitate on. But against the Cardinals, I think you play Godwin. I think you play Evans. I think you consider Russell Gage, who had a massive performance, but don't chase the points. I would definitely play some of these other guys that we talked about before.
Cade on for the win. Let's do it. Cardinals are the worst against tight ends. He didn't really do anything in this game. I think he gets the targets again. He had
a nice yak play. I think that may have been his only catch. I don't actually. I thought so. But very nice yak play where he stiff armed someone and then broke away. So, I am taking the Bucks in this game, and I am taking the over.
I am taking the Bucks at the under.
Yeah, that's fair. Monday Night Football is the 8-6 Chargers as 4-point favorites against the 4-9-1 Colts off of the worst performance, second half performance I've ever seen. I fell asleep in the second quarter thinking the game was over. I woke up middle of the third quarter and I said, okay, time to watch this game. Over under in this one's 47. Justin Herbert led a game-winning drive, but didn't. I mean, he played well. He threw 2 picks. He played fine. Keenan Allen was once again fine. High target share once again. Mike Williams did what he could. He had a very nice catch at the end of the game to kind of save his fantasy day. Josh Palmer, fine. Gerald Everett, fine. Are you playing Palmer or Everett? And are you hesitant on Mike Williams?
No, I think you're playing Allen or Williams and Eckler and Herbert.
Okay. Me too. That's where I think you consider Palmer. I think you
It's tough.
Yeah. I think you're right. Other side of things, Matt Ryan, 19 of 33, 182 yards and a touchdown and a fumble. He was terrible. Jonathan Taylor is hurt. High ankle sprain. Sounds like he's done for the year. Zach Moss, 24 carries, 81 yards. He sucks, but he got volume. I don't think you play him against the Chargers, but Chargers are a decent matchup against running backs. So
yeah, but I do think they probably do a 3 running back like stable here with Taylor out. So I don't think you really wanted to play any of them.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think Deion Jackson would be my play if I had to play one of them. So,
yeah,
I think. And then Michael Pittman, you play him, 10 catches, 60 yards. So
yep.
I'm taking the Chargers and the over.
Yep, completely agree.
Cool. All right, that'll do it for our Week 16 preview. Hopefully you won your fantasy matchups this week and you're moving on in the playoffs. As you can see, Randy and I are still waiting for the outcome of this game to determine that. But this will have happened by the time you see this. So we have no idea if we moved on.
It's so sad because, like, I literally made it through in every other league. Yep. So out of the 15, I'm like 14 through. It's just this one, and we both said
it's the most important.
This is what we care about the most.
Yep,
and
sure
we're
is.
both gonna go out, and it stings.
I need 4 points, man. 3.5 points.
Like 10 for Watson here, if not more. So
well, we're gonna go watch that. If you're watching this the day after we have talked about this, congratulate us or make fun of us.
Yeah, at just don't talk to me in the one case.
Yeah, that too. At C Williams NFL on Twitter. You can ask us your start sit questions, or at our Hall NFL on Twitter as well. Feel free to do that. Good luck in your matchups, Randy. Is there anything you would like to add before we get out of here?
Enjoy the holidays. Whatever you celebrate, at least enjoy. The free time. I know there's a bunch of different people around the world, especially even in America. Don't celebrate, Christmas and stuff, but you still at least get the time off, so spend it with your family, have some fun. Yeah. That's what I plan on doing. So let's all do the same, and we'll see if we can all stand up on the day after Christmas. You never really know, do you?
You never do. You never do. All right, that'll do it for this episode. As always, subscribe wherever you're listening, all those things. But like I said, hit us up on Twitter with your start sits for the playoffs. We'll be back next week at some point. I believe Tuesday night is where we'll go. But we will determine that sometime next week, probably. Hopefully late this week. But until then, for Randy Hall, I'm Christian Williams. We'll talk to you guys then. Later.